This Hangout is on air live. Okay, so it says we are live. So welcome, welcome, welcome to everyone. If you are here with me live, I'm just going to double check the stream and make sure everything is working properly. Welcome, especially if you just came from Instagram, where I was just on an Instagram live majig and letting you guys know about this live chat here on the YouTubes. Looks like we've got awesome. Okay, we've got action here. Let me mute this. I'll let it play as per the usual. Oops, oops, oops. What have I done? Nope. There we go. Hello. Okay, I'm seeing the comments now, which is great. So hello to Sarah and to Hannah. Hello. And Jessica Christine. Welcome, you guys. Blog for Light. Hello. Hello, you guys. Thank you guys so much for popping in with me. I hope that this was a good time for you. I talked to some people on Instagram yesterday. They said noon would be like the best time, East Coast. So, you know, just want to get this in before the weekend. Let you guys think about some mentor stuff. Let it brew over the weekend. If you guys have some side hustle work you're working on, you know, very helpful. I feel like this is nice and a nice light combo between us business babes, right, on mentorship, right, which I think is a really important topic to online business and entrepreneurs and all that jazz. So before I jump into like the outline for this video, I want, you guys are all saying hello, and I'm going to say hello and do some shout outs, but I would absolutely love it if you guys would use this opportunity. If you are someone who does have an online business, you are an entrepreneur, you have aspirations to be an entrepreneur or run an online business, I want you guys to say hello and leave your handles in the chat, because I want you guys to connect with each other, because part of the reason I love to do these live things is because it gives you guys a chance to interact with each other as well. And if I have any job here on YouTube, it's to make sure that, I guess, number one, that I'm informing and keeping you guys up to date with, you know, my best strategies on how to work smarter, not harder, and run your own online business. But I also want to make sure that you guys are connecting with each other on a personal basis, because you don't know if your new business bestie or like a mentor would possibly be here in the comments. So definitely make sure that you're saying hello, leaving your handle, talking about your business as we go through this. This is totally interactive. I'm going to have my spiel, like I said, but you guys have an opportunity to talk to each other. So I would love it if you guys would connect. And actually, there was some really good connection going on in Instagram when I was just doing that live chat. And I've got my coffee here. This is my Nespresso, my daily shot / cup of Nespresso, that for anybody who doesn't know, I get migraines and caffeine espresso every day. It's like my prescription for making sure I don't get a migraine. So yes, okay, so we're a few minutes here. Let's see what we've got here. Let's see who's here. I need to go up because there's so many people said hello. Blog for Light, Daniela, Serena, Mike and Amy, Sarah Green, Larita, Angela, Tiffany, Shalise, Aisha, Art of Deborah, Clay, my girl Clay is here, Jessica. Is there another Angela, or is that the same Angela? Could be the same one. I don't know. Peekaboo Planning, Sarah, Kathy Down Under, MLB Girl, Kelly Jo, Filofax and Queen. Thank you guys so much for being here today. And thank you guys so much for your support and your very kind words. I'm so glad that you guys are here today and able to spend this time with me. I think this is going to be a great chat. And yeah, let me know too in the comments right now. Let's do a little bit of interacting just for a couple of minutes before I jump in. How many of you guys here are what you would consider a current or aspiring business owner or entrepreneur? So let me know if you are, say like yes, if you are a current or aspiring entrepreneur. I would love to know. And I know I've got a good community of you guys here on YouTube that follow me. And I just like to know who's who, you know, what the reasons why someone is here today. So Kiona says yes. Sarah, yes. Peekaboo Planning, yes. Emily, she's launching a new business this month. Congrats, Emily. Look at all these yeses. Okay, you guys are moving really quick right now. Okay, aspiring, yes, absolutely. Oh, someone's got an Etsy. Yes, awesome, awesome. Just getting started, really. This is perfect then. This is a perfect place to start if you are someone who is getting started right now. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. I think that there's, never a wrong time for great information, but I like to think that my strong suit here on YouTube and what I do for my business and my customers is helping people get started, like helping people find the information, the resources that they need to get started, right? Like, I don't pretend that I have all the answers. I've been in business now for myself for 3 years. I've been on the internet dabbling for, it's like 9 years. I'm so old. Facepalm. For a very long time, right? But I think that my strong suit is teaching people who are getting started. So if you are someone who's getting started, or you feel like maybe you've been doing it for a while and you still feel like you haven't gotten a grasp of things, I think that's a perfect place to start with my community. And make sure, again, that you guys are connecting, interacting, because I love seeing you guys talk. I love it when you guys send me messages and I can see you guys like having, just like comments in my YouTube videos. I see you guys just chatting back and forth and giving each other emails so that you guys can stay in touch. I think that's wonderful. So we are good to go, you guys. I think we're good. We're 6 minutes into this. Let me go ahead and pull up my spiel. So basically, I've got like an outline of what we're going to talk about today. And so how I'm going to do this is I'm going to present this just like I would like a YouTube video. So you're like watching a YouTube video live, more or less. And I am going to then do a Q&A that I have some questions that were actually submitted through Instagram yesterday. And then I will go through and we will talk in the comments. So if you are watching this with me live and you are in the comments, the live chat that's going on right now, save your questions for when I ask for Q&A because I can't see them right now. Now, you guys feel free to ask and answer questions for each other, but just know that until I get back to you guys in the Q&A, I'm doing my own thing over here. So yes, that's what's going to happen now. Okay, are we ready to get started, you guys? I think so. I think so. Okay, so hello, my charmed ones, and welcome back to my channel for this live video. Today, we're going to be talking about how to find and choose an online business mentor. So as many of you guys probably already know, I'm in the middle of an upgrade launch for my Empire Building Online Business Program. And the program has basically been upgraded from a workbook-based course to a video module-based course website. And to celebrate this, right now, the program is on sale until March 7th. So since one of the major purposes of mine in creating Empire Building was to act as a mentor and teach those within my community who want to create their own online businesses and reach their own entrepreneurial goals and aspirations, I thought that today we could chat about mentorship and specifically how to find and select a business mentor. So the first thing that I want to talk to you guys about today is what is a mentor and what a mentor is not, because I do think that based on just questions that I receive on an ongoing basis, because this topic of mentorship inside and outside of entrepreneurship really is one that I do get asked about a lot. And I do see that from some of the questions, I can tell that I think that some people are confused about what a mentor is. So I want to be really clear with you guys what a mentor is and what it is not. So you're not confusing it with any other roles that could be benefiting your business, right? So you're not going after the wrong things so that you're not wasting time, chasing down things that aren't really, don't exist or aren't really what's going to work for you. So what is a mentor? So dictionary definition, right? A mentor is an experienced or trusted advisor. That's it. An experienced or trusted advisor. So it's someone that you trust to give you guidance on any number of areas of your life or business, right? Obviously, today we're talking about business, but there are people that can mentor you in your career, in your life. Throughout our lives, I think we have a lot of different mentors that come in and out of our lives. So it's just someone that you trust that has more experience that can help to guide you, right? So many people misinterpret a mentor as someone who has maybe a vested interest in your success, which I do think that a mentor should have some sort of vested interest in you because, they're they've established a circle of trust with you, right? If they're a trusted advisor of yours, then clearly you're in their circle and they should have some form of vested interest in your success. But the absolute truth of the matter is that the mentor to mentee relationship, in that dynamic, the mentor is the one that's really doing all of the giving and receiving nothing in return but the satisfaction of helping another person. So this is one of the reasons why it is hard to find a mentor, because it's work on one person's end that isn't always reciprocated. And we're going to talk about in a little bit later in this chat about a situation where it is reciprocated, and therefore there's more effort being put in on the side of the mentor, right? The person with the experience that's giving the knowledge. But that is why it's hard. It's not always easy. It's not something that everyone's guaranteed in life that you're going to have a mentor. Like I said, many of us do find mentors throughout our lives. Mostly, I think it's very serendipitous, right? It's serendipity, it's just a happy accident. But that is something to keep in mind, that this is not a relationship where the mentor, for whatever reason, is getting something amazing from helping someone else. They're really just doing it out of the goodness of their hearts. And because of that, there's a specific power dynamic, I think, at play. So that is what a mentor is and what a mentor is not, right? A mentor is not your business coach. They're not your, not your business partner. They're not someone who is, feels like they have an invested interest in your outcome. They're just someone that's doing it out of the kindness of their heart. In many aspects, we're going to talk about one, like I said, where it's more of a reciprocal sort of situation. So why are mentors so important for online business and entrepreneurship? That's the big question that we're talking about today. Now, because entrepreneurship is honestly like no other type of work, I think that it really does require you to have and find at least one good business mentor. So business is always in flux, right? There's no prescribed path that people can take to success. That's the thing that makes it very tough. If there was one route to success, everyone would take it. But that's not the way it is. Business is always changing. It's different for different people, different markets, different segments of business. And then, of course, there's that whole idea of, when it comes to entrepreneurship, that having someone being a solo entrepreneur like me, I'm building a business that's very catered to my life and my needs. So there's not a prescribed path for what Alexis needs in her business. There's not a prescribed path for what you need in your business if you're trying to build something that's specifically tailored to your life. So having a business mentor, having someone to go to for advice, to get questions answered, or to find new resources is extremely valuable. Many of you guys may already know that most online businesses and startups fail within the first 120 days. 120 days. What is that? 4 months. 4 months a business online will fail. So if someone has been in business for years, right? They may not have all of the answers, but they're definitely further along than you are, which is extremely helpful, right? And that's really the best case scenario I think we could ever ask for with a mentor, is just finding someone who's a little ahead of us at the least, who can give us, their perspective, their resources, give us, answers to questions that we have. So helpful, right? So another reason why mentors are important are because when you're working for yourself, right? It's not like a job where you have a boss that's telling you what to do, and you don't have coworkers necessarily who you can lean on and learn from. You're pretty much alone, especially if you're a solopreneur like I am. Many businesses that start up are solopreneur or very small teams, right? So you're pretty much alone. And I think that fostering a relationship with a mentor is like having someone on your side with experience. And again, they may not have all of the answers, right? But if there's someone who's further along than you are, then they've got advice and things to be able to share with you that you need, because just the fact that they're a little bit ahead of you in the race, you know what I mean? They've seen a perspective that's further along than you have. And depending how long they've been in the game for, they may have had numerous experiences failing and succeeding over and over again that have taught them new things, right? Taught them and given them new insight that they can share with you. So that is why a mentor is so important, right? So get it in the comments right now. I'm not going to be looking at them, but let me know if you guys, how you feel about that. Like, does that make sense to you guys that like business is, I think specifically, having a business and being an entrepreneur, you really need this mentor, right? Because it is a journey like no other. And we talk, you can hear people talk about mentors within careers and in personal things as well, which I think are wonderful if you're able to find those. And specifically, I think a lot of times I think about mentors as you're going through school and being a student and growing up and kind of finding yourself and your calling in life. These are periods of time where naturally people will find mentors because it's a very transformative time. But I do think that being an entrepreneur has a unique set of advantages and disadvantages that really does require someone who's a little bit more seasoned to be able to pick their brain, essentially, right? So let me know how you guys feel about that and, your thoughts on that, and, discuss it in the comments right now. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is where you can find a mentor, right? Like we talked about, it's kind of hard to find mentors because it's mostly a one-sided relationship, and you have to find someone that like somehow can be vested in you and invested in you in some way in order to, get them to open up and, let you take their time, right? And learn what was probably lessons that were very hard for them to learn on their own. So I think that there are 3 ways that you can find a mentor. So I'm going to talk about those 3 ways, and I'm going to talk about mentors that I have that apply to each of these as well. So the first way you can find a mentor is to find a mentor in real life, right? So like in your life, someone that you know, someone that you're connected or networked with, right? So perhaps you know someone, or there is someone that's like a friend of a friend, or someone that you've met or networked with at a local business meetup in your area that could turn into a mentor for you because you know them in real life. So I think it's crucial that if you run a business that's like a physical business in real life, like an IRL business, that you do find someone in real life that can mentor you like in for the day to day, right? Because that is a unique experience of its own. But for me, running an online business, and you guys, most of you here today, I think are running online businesses or aspire to run online businesses. To my first online business mentor was/is, because I guess he still is, right? Is my uncle, okay? So this is someone that I know in real life, right? My uncle related to this person. So he runs his own consulting firm, and he's a partner in his son's online businesses. And he worked for a major women's designer fashion brand for years before he retired and then started his consulting firm. And now he works with tons of different businesses. He travels around the world. He does speaking engagements in his area of expertise. He's always like sending me an email like, oh, Alexis, let's go for lunch. I'll be in Philly at this time. I'm coming back from London. Like he's like jet setting around the world, right? So he's someone who I'm related to who has an amazing business experience in real life, right? And he was the person who helped me get my business set up legally and financially. And he helps me with contracts. Like while I was getting started, he was helping me with contracts, reviewing contracts, things like that. But he isn't so into social media, right? So he's not my be-all and end-all mentor, but it's convenient that he's related to me, and it's convenient that I know him in real life because he has a vested interest in me as his niece, right? So it's a really good situation to be in, which is why I really do like in real life mentors if you can find them. Especially if you're related to or networked with someone, because it's very convenient, right? That is one way that you can get someone to have a vested interest in you. So that's like my first online business mentor, right? That I had that was like a real mentor. Now, the second way that you can find an online business mentor is what I would call like a virtual mentor. So this could be someone online that you follow who gives advice and you can learn from, but perhaps you never or rarely interact one-on-one with them. So I consider personally people like Gary Vaynerchuk, Pat Flynn, Tony Robbins to be my virtual mentors, right? These are entrepreneurs that are thought leaders that share content that I regularly enjoy and learn from, and they have a lot of experience in the online market. Do I know them in real life? No. Do I ever interact with them? I mean, I might comment on like a post, but like they don't talk to me back. You know what I mean? But that does not mean that I don't go there and dive into their content and learn from their experiences because they're people who share their experiences online. So many of you guys here today may actually view me, whether or not you know it, as a virtual mentor. If you're someone who has been reading my blog, or you watch my videos, or you follow me on social media to like see what lessons I have to share with you, that's definitely a role that I play as a virtual mentor. And obviously, you know, there's like in total, I don't know what, tens of thousands of you guys. There's like, I almost have 70,000 people on YouTube, and there's only one of me. So I don't interact necessarily personally one-to-one with you guys, although I am very good. If you send me an email, I will usually email you back pretty quickly. So, you know, you can get some one-on-one interaction with me. And I've heard that like I could email like Gary Vaynerchuk, or like send him a tweet and he might email back, because he apparently responds to all of his emails. But, you know, he's a busy guy. I'm not going to like, you know, send him an email. But yeah, like definitely I could fall into that situation for some of you as well. And that's a other legitimate way that you could find a mentor, right? Is online, virtually, someone who just shares their experiences and you learn from it, right? It's very active on your part. You need to be the one who's like researching, seeing, looking, paying attention. But that's a very legitimate way to find a mentor. So right now in the comments, I would love it if you guys could maybe list out some virtual mentors that you guys can think of, to give you guys each some new ideas. Like maybe one of you follows someone that someone else hasn't ever heard of before. Definitely leave some entrepreneurs' names or online business people. And it doesn't even have to just be business or anything. Just someone maybe that, let's say you're a graphic designer and you follow some blogger who does graphic design. Like whoever it is that's a virtual mentor to you, leave them in the chat so that you guys can all kind of learn from these people. And maybe you guys do some screenshotting, right? Screenshot some of these names so that you guys can reference them later, because this chat does disappear once I stop the broadcast, which is unfortunate. But yeah, write them down now just to give people some ideas. I think that would be super helpful. I think it'd be super helpful because part of this is, you know, to help each other too, you guys. Okay, now, third and final way that you can find a mentor for your online business. And I call this like a remote mentor. So this is someone that you'll connect with online, but perhaps you don't know them in real life, okay? So for me, my friend and mentor, Anne Samoylov, you guys have probably heard me talk about her. She's been on videos on my channel before. She falls into this category for me. So she and I connected because she hired me to do some work for her, and she ended up taking me under her wing, and we became like best friends, right? So she introduced me to different people virtually that she thought I should follow, like other virtual mentors that I should follow, you know, and she would send me articles and, you know, say like, oh, these are ideas I have for you, Alexis, and, you know, things like that. And she helped me to identify the strengths that I had, right, that I didn't know. And she helped me to narrow down my business goals and projects. And because we were engaged in a business transaction, right, while she was hiring me, right, to do work for her, there was an investment on her end to help me succeed as well. Because, you know, if you think about it, like if you're hiring someone to do work for you, you want them to get better. You want them to get better, especially if you've developed a relationship with them. So there is an investment there on someone's end in this situation. And this actually brings me to a really key point about finding mentors and working with a mentor, that often the easiest way to connect with a mentor is by working with them. So that could be hiring them to consult for you, right? So like hiring someone who does consulting, right? And then they become your mentor that way, or joining a program with them that they run, right? So maybe they have a course or something like that they help to develop other people's businesses, or whatever the situation is that you are in, right? So I'm not just saying that this has to be like, oh, an online business mentor in terms of they're going to teach you about business. There's so many different aspects of online business that you could be involved with. So, you know, making an investment in a program or time spent with a mentor, someone who does this, is the easiest, quickest way to make that connection. So obviously, this applies to me and Empire Building, which is my online business program. We already talked about that earlier. And part of why I created Empire Building, right, personally, was because it was the program that I wish I had when I first got started years ago, 9 years ago. I wish I had something like Empire Building, because it took me years to learn everything that I ended up putting in Empire Building. And had I been able to just buy the information at that, like day one, I often question like where I would be today. Like, I don't know if people would be like, oh, Oprah, she's a thing. They'd be like, oh, no, Alexis, she's a thing. Could you imagine like how far I could have gotten if like 9 years ago I knew everything I knew now? So that's one of the big reasons I created Empire Building, was to package up all of my knowledge and give it to people who needed it. So the other part of why I created Empire Building was because I realized that I am a great teacher. It is in my nature. It is one of my strengths. And although Empire Building is a work at your own pace, on-demand course, I know that people always have questions. They always have trouble applying different things to their own situation. So I wanted to make myself available as a mentor to those in my community who invested in me. So this is the reciprocal mentorship relationship. So you invest in me or another online business mentor of any sort, and they will then want to invest in you by helping you make the most of the information that they have to offer. And that's exactly what I do in Empire Building. When you sign up for Empire Building, no matter which path you take, if you take the less expensive path, that's the, that's just the modules at this point, because it's gonna be video modules in like less than a week. You get all the information, you get all these workbooks that I've laid out exactly how I did what I was doing, and all these options and everything you need to know, all of the information I wish I had back in 2007 when I graduated college and started doing my thing online. But then the second part of Empire Building is the fact that no matter which program you choose, which path you choose, you at least get the access to me, like unlimited access in my Facebook group, where you're allowed to message me, ask me questions. I will provide additional resources and things like that to you. So that is why Empire Building is set up the way that it is. And obviously Empire Building has the upgraded path, the architect path, where you get everything in the program, plus you get 2 one-on-one calls with me. One of them is a 60-minute quick start call where I will go through your business with you, and I'll start identifying like everything I think you need to put in place. And then the second call is a 90-minute planning session where we're going to break out your year into the exact projects that I think you need to take so that you are making progress on actually doing those things. So that I prescribe, right? So that you're actually moving forward with your business. So, Empire Building is a way that I mentor people. And at this point, I don't do a lot of private consulting anymore because I would prefer to put my attention to my empire builders. Yes, I could make a good amount of money doing work like ad hoc for other people, but I personally would rather invest in the people who choose to invest in me. Does that make sense? So the next thing I want to talk about when it comes to mentorship is how to make the most of a mentor, right? Because I do think this is another area where people get tripped up, how to actually interact with the mentor, like what you need to be doing, right? So I think that many people misunderstand and think that once they've found their mentor, right? Once they found them, they can just sit back and wait for that mentor to come to them and give them direction. But really, once you found the mentor that you trust, you need to get to work making the most of it by engaging with them, asking them questions and soliciting for feedback. It's not a situation where they're a teacher. They're not teachers. They're mentors. So you have to ask them the questions and they will give you the feedback. And that's the way this works. You don't just sit there like in class and get information thrown at you. So another example would be, with Empire Building, like I said, the Facebook group where anyone can ask me for help and I'll respond. But you need to ask the questions in Empire Building, right? Like I can't read your mind and I'm not going to be building your business for you, right? This is not like some sort of easy button where I'm promising to build your business for you. I am there for you to answer your questions, to help you apply lessons, to give you additional resources. If you have an issue, you're like, Alexis, I don't know how to do this. What do I do? I will get you the resource so that you can figure it out, like you can get it done. But you have to be the one taking action, right? You're the one who has to do the work. You're the one that has to come to me. I'm not there to hold your hand, babysit you. Like we're all big girls here, like running our online businesses. Like you need to come to me because all I can do is be the resource that helps you solve problems, remove impediments, and provides insight and advice from my experienced eyes. And on that note of my experienced eyes, I guess, what makes me experienced, right? Like what makes me experienced enough to be a mentor, right? we already talked about a little bit that like a mentor can just be someone who's a little bit ahead of you, right? Who just sees a little bit down the road more than where you currently are. But in my specific situation, if you guys are not familiar with my story, I worked in Fortune 50 sales and marketing doing business development for 5 years, business and brand development for a Fortune 50 company for 5 years for giant contracted customers, okay? Like I could tell you customers that I had, clients that I was building their business with them and working through brand management with them, and you would know what these places were. And then after the 5 years, I wanted to do my own thing, so I went full-time for myself, and I ended up replacing my income from this Fortune 50 job that I'd worked at for 5 years, company car. I had an expense account, so many weeks of vacation, bonuses. I gave it all up and I replaced the income in 6 months. And then I grew year over year until where I am right now. I'm about to hit my 3-year mark and my business is still thriving and growing. Now, do I have all of the answers for every single situation? No, of course not. But I've seen a lot in the last 3 years, and I've seen even more if you count the whole 9 years I've been online, because I've been experimenting and researching and learning, because that is what I do, right? I don't expect that everybody is like me and is literally reading every like marketing, it's like digital marketing like article out there to like figure out new strategies and understand how you apply things. And if you guys have ever been to maybe like some of my other webinars like that I did like last year and before that, I'm like a statistics person. I love looking at stats and understanding and dissecting why results happen, right? Like why there's a statistic a certain way. I want to know why. It's not enough that I know that like most businesses fail in 120 days, right? I need to know why so that I can avoid doing whatever it takes to get myself to that point, right? I don't want my business to fail, and I don't want the businesses of my mentees to fail either, because if you're invested in me, I'm invested in you, right? So do I know more than someone who's just getting started right now? Certainly, absolutely. And that is what makes me a good mentor, because I will not always be your mentor for the rest of your life, right? Like you need me right now in this place. You may not need me for the rest of your career, but I'm a good choice for right now. Not necessarily for 5 years down the line when your business is expanded and you like, I don't know, you're opening stores and you're like doing something, you know, really, really amazing with your business and you've gone in an amazing direction, but I can help you get started. That is what I do. I help people get started, right? From your concept to your execution, I help people get started. This is what I'm good at. This is what I'm focused on. So when it comes to finding a mentor, you're not looking for a soulmate, right? You're not looking for one person to be your mentor for the rest of your life. It's a temporary state for as long as you need it. For as long as you are in that beginner period, I am your mentor who can give you the advice and can look at things with my experienced eyes to help you make the most of your business. Will that always be the case? Absolutely not. But like I said, you're going to have different mentors. Look, I already listed like a bazillion different mentors I have, right? And there's more, really. There really are more people that I consider my mentors. But they were there for me at different periods of time. Like my uncle, right? He was really strongly my mentor when I first got started. Now, not so much. We like catch up like every now and again. He doesn't like talk to me about social media because it's not something he knows. But the legality and the contracts and like everything I needed to know to get started on that end, he was able to help me with. Absolutely. And that was invaluable to me at that point, right? So before we move into the Q&A, I want to give you guys one last bit of information, which are tips for choosing a mentor, because this is something that yesterday when I was on Instagram and asking you guys what you wanted to hear about in this chat, a lot of people were struggling to even understand like how they would even choose a mentor. Okay, so first and foremost, a mentor needs to be someone who has experience or knowledge that you need. So they don't need to be working necessarily in your exact field per se, but they probably have at one point, or they're in the same scope as you. An example of this would be if you are, let's say you want to start a business being a graphic designer, like a freelance graphic designer. Can I help you with my tips and strategies to do that? Absolutely, because I know the online marketplace and I know branding and personal, brand growth and communication and how to get your message out there online. Am I a professional graphic designer? No, but you're the professional graphic designer. So you don't need me to like coach you on being a graphic designer. You already have that part. What you need to know is the business part of it, how to get your business together, how to get your name out there, how to make your brand stick online, right? So does that make sense to you guys? A mentor just needs to be someone that has the experience that you need, not necessarily to be like your identical twin. Now, the next tip I have for you guys on choosing a mentor is that the mentor, as they stand currently, needs to be in a position that you would like to be in one day. So a good example of this would be that if you want to have X number of followers on Instagram, your mentor should be someone who has met or exceeded that number, because clearly they can guide you through that because they've had that experience. But if their results don't look like what the results are that you want, then they might not be the right fit for you, right? A mentor can really only teach what they themselves know and have experienced. So keep that in mind. So I had a question about this yesterday about, like, you know, should you be checking out your mentor's social media feeds? You know, if the feeds that you're checking out are something that's important that you want to have, then yeah, if your mentor has 100 followers on Instagram and you want to have, 10,000, they may have some insight that can help you, but they're not going to be able to help you with that goal specifically. So does that make sense to you guys? I hope that makes sense. The next tip I have for you guys on this is that you really need to be clear on what you want to get out of the relationship. And this kind of relates to the last thing, like I'm talking about, like having goals, because when you don't know what your ends are, like what you're trying to get out of it, you most likely won't make the most of the experience. Like I said, the mentee, you need to do the work. You need to ask the questions. You need to put the advice into practice that you get. You need to know what you're trying to accomplish. Does that mean you need to have a perfect plan? Like, oh, this is where I want to end up 100%? No, but you need to understand why you've chosen this mentor and what it is that you're hoping to get out of it. Because if you're not clear on that, they're not going to be able to help you. Like I said, they're not just a teacher who's going to be lecturing to you and just hoping you're taking notes, right? That's not the way that relationship works. And then my final point on choosing a mentor is to remember that you don't need just one. Like I explained earlier, I have several mentors, some of them in real life, some of them are virtual, some of them are remote. And as I grow, I find more people to be my mentors and who I will look up to, especially if they're doing whatever cool new things I want to do in the future, right? Once I get to a certain point, like I said, like with my uncle, once I got past that initial point where he could help me, yes, I still talk to him and stuff, but he can't help me with the next phase of my journey, right? And then my friend Anne, right? So Anne did a tremendous amount, and she still does. She's still someone that I still talk to and ask for advice and things like that. Is there maybe going to come a day when I feel like I've through osmosis of information, I've reached an equilibrium where what Anne has to offer me is not, obviously friendship and stuff like that, that's aside, but would I need someone else's opinions as well? Absolutely. Because as you grow and change and take different directions, you're always going to need new people. You're always going to need new people. So don't feel like you're not looking for a soulmate. You're not marrying your mentor, right? There's someone that you need right now to help you go through a phase that you're in currently. So I hope that makes sense to you guys, right? You don't need just one, but you need to find one who has experience right now to get you through to the next phase. And if that mentor also can get you through to another phase, that's awesome, right? That's awesome. But generally speaking, it's probably harder for you to find someone that's going to be with you long-term, right? Someone like Gary Vaynerchuk, right? Gary Vaynerchuk, like I said, he's one of my virtual mentors. He may actually mentor people who are right below him, but he probably doesn't mentor beginners, right? He is going to be working with people who are in his range where he has the next step up for them, right? It would be weird to think that he would, I guess maybe if you paid him a lot of money, he would start your business, help you from start to finish, right? But that's what you have to think of, is that these mentors are there for a period of time where you need them in order to move into a new phase. And like I said, it could be a few phases, but it's not a long-term relationship where you're going to be relying on this person for years and years and years. That would be a lot to ask because, even in the reciprocal situation where you've invested in a program, even in empire building, you invest in empire building, and it's my goal that you go through it. And honestly, I don't have like a time frame for how long people should be in empire building. You have access to it forever as long as it exists. But I would expect that like, a year, you should be understanding what's in empire building, and even quicker if you're someone who's trying to move quicker, right? Because it's 6 modules, like, you could move through that pretty quickly if you wanted to. And if you're the kind of person who takes action very quickly, absolutely. Do I expect that like someone's going to be asking me questions in empire building in 5 years, like if they join today and then 5 years from now? I wouldn't think so. I would think that they would have outgrown that program by then, right? So that is the way mentorship works. You're just looking for someone to help you with this next phase or the current phase that you are in. Okay. So now we're going to do the Q&A. Okay. So we'll do some Q&A now. So you guys at this point can go ahead and ask me some questions. And I'm going to, I'll keep an eye on the chat right now. And I'm going to answer some questions that were left over from yesterday's Instagram chat that were not fully integrated into this presentation. So, okay. So like I said, yesterday I got great questions from people on Instagram, and I'm going to address these now, but feel free to ask whatever questions you have on the topic of mentorship now, and I'll keep an eye on the chat. Okay. So someone asked, should you ask for references from your mentor? This is a really interesting question. Should you ask for references? Keep in mind, you guys, I think that this is a misunderstanding of what a mentor is. A mentor is not your employee, and they're not necessarily someone that you're hiring. They're someone that you are seeking out for advice, and it's usually a one-sided situation. So if you don't already know their resume and understand what they've accomplished and what they can do for you, then you're either unclear on the relationship or you're not actually clear on what you want to get out of it. Now, I guess an exception to this would be if you're buying into a business program, right? Like if you were someone who's looking at me and saying, okay, I'm thinking about joining empire building, Alexis would be my mentor. Do I ask for references, right? Obviously in my situation and any other person who's a mentor who's, selling a program or, doing coaching or something or consulting like that, obviously we have testimonials, right? So I have testimonials I can show you with results that different students have given me, people who have given me testimonials, told me what their experience was, that can absolutely be shared. But are you like looking for like a reference? Like, is this person going to be a good mentor? Like, give me the name and phone number of the last 3 people that you mentored. Like, that's not the way that this works. You know whether or not this mentor is right for you. You're the one seeking them out. They're not looking for you, right? They're ahead of you, right? So they're not looking behind thinking, let me pick out a mentee. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how it works. So I hope that that makes sense. Now, another big question we got was how to decide what you actually need from a mentor, right? So this is very important because if you don't know what you need, like I said, what you don't know what you're looking for, you're not going to get the most out of the relationship. So what I would say in this situation is you want to ask yourself what it is that you have yet to learn. Are you looking for someone to teach you a certain skill? Do you need someone that you can run ideas by? A mentor is not a business partner, like I said, and they're not responsible for your business. They're not doing the work for you. They're literally a living, breathing resource. They're someone who has experience that could extrapolate that experience into your situation. Are they going to always be right 100% of the time? Probably not. But they're going to have eyes that are a little bit clearer, a little bit more steadfast and more experienced than yours are, which is the really important thing. So you need to know what it is that you actually need from a mentor, because if what you're looking for, like in the example of a graphic design, like a freelance graphic designer, if you're looking to learn graphic design so that you can be a graphic designer, then you wouldn't necessarily hire me to be your business mentor, right? Because that's not what I teach. But if you do know graphic design, right? And you want to build the business and the brand out, yes, that is something I can do for you, right? So you need to understand what it is that you are actually looking for. You need to have the questions kind of set out that are immediate for you right now, and see if your mentor to be is someone who can answer those for you. And another question I got, which I'm a little bit unsure about how to answer this, so I'm answering it 2 different ways, was, should you be alarmed if your mentor does one thing but not another thing? So like I said, I'm going to answer this 2 ways. To me, I think it depends on what you're trying to achieve. So if what you're asking is that you want to grow a YouTube channel, but your mentor doesn't have one, they aren't the right person to give you advice on YouTube then, right? Like that makes sense to me. Just like we were talking about, if your mentor doesn't have, 10,000 Instagram followers and that's what you're looking for, then that's not the right person for you, right? But if it's a situation where you're looking for just general advice and your mentor maybe uses Instagram but not YouTube and you want to use YouTube, I guess, remember that business is a very personal, highly personal endeavor, and it's always in flux. So what your mentor may be doing for their business, even if your business is similar, it doesn't mean it's the right thing for you. So in that situation, if they do X and you want to do Y, that doesn't mean that they still don't know how to help you with Y. Does that make sense? So it really is like a case-by-case basis. And this is one of those things where, especially in empire building, I talk about all different social media platforms and how to use them. Do I know how to use all of them? Yes. Do I use all of them regularly and rely on them for my business? No, because that's not the strategy that I teach. I don't teach the strategy of you have to be everywhere. I teach the strategy of choosing the platforms that work for your business and work for you, that you are actually Am I back? Okay, you can see me. Good. You can see? Yes, we can see. Am I on the screen yet? There I am. There I am. Okay. And you guys can still hear me, right? Can someone say, yes, we can hear you? Just so I know what we're referring to. I know that there is like a 30-second to a minute delay. So I'll just wait patiently. Yes, there you are. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Yes, good. You can hear me. Okay. Can someone tell me what was the last thing you heard? And I'll type this too. Like, what point did I cut out? Just so I can go back if I cut out. Sorry for this interruption. That was so weird. I guess I could go back in my stream and see what the last thing. Okay, I was talking about different social media platforms. Okay, I'm going to finish up with that question then again, just in case it messed up. Okay, so that question was, should you be alarmed if your mentor does one thing but not another thing? And I said that it depends on what you're trying to achieve. So if you're trying to grow and build a YouTube channel, but your mentor doesn't have one, they may not be the right person to give you advice on how to use YouTube. Now, it's a different situation if you're looking for general business advice, and maybe your mentor is someone who uses Instagram but not YouTube, right? They may still be able to give you strategies and things that apply to that, even though it's not the right platform for them, because business is so varied and it's always in flux and it's highly personal. And so the situation they may be in, Instagram might be the best thing for them, whereas YouTube might be the best thing for you. So it's all about what you're trying to get out of it. And a good example of this would be with empire building, right? I teach you guys how to use and give you strategies for all of the major platforms of communication, although I don't use all of them equally, right? So like I will teach you guys about Twitter, but Twitter's not my biggest following, right? My biggest following is like my blog or YouTube. But that doesn't mean that I don't know how to use Twitter or don't know how to help you advance in Twitter. You know what I mean? It's just what's right for me is not what's right for you necessarily. And that's what I think is one of the amazing things about empire building, is that it is highly personal. I don't teach people to use every platform, right? Like that's not the strategy I use, because you're going to end up working yourself to death and running yourself too thin. But my strategy is to pick the ones that work for you and your business models and the things that you feel passionate about. So that answer to that question is, it really just depends on the situation that you're in, which is why it's very important that you have those goals for what you're trying to do. Okay, so no, I do not teach to be everywhere. I absolutely do not. I think that you're gonna have your account set up everywhere, but you don't have to use all of it. And you guys, it's very easy for you guys to see the ones that I actually create content for on a regular basis, because those are the ones where I have a tremendous following. So my main platforms of communication are my blog that gets, what was it? I'm trying to remember how many. I get like anywhere between 20 and 80,000 unique viewers a month. It depends on each month. I get well over like 1.5 million page views a year. And that's a big one for me. And then YouTube, I've got like almost 70,000 here. And then Instagram is like 25. And then if you went to my Twitter, it's like 2,000. And my Facebook page is like 5. Because I don't use those platforms. That's not the platform that I personally love and enjoy using. But the ones that I do use and enjoy on a regular basis, they're the ones that I've knocked it out of the park on. And that's fine. I don't need to have a Twitter following of 1 million, right? Like that's, I mean, would it be good? Yeah, maybe. But that's not where my heart is at. And that's not what's right for my business. Does that make sense? Okay. So I'm going back to try to see your questions. Feel free to ask your questions again. Someone said, can an accountability buddy work as a mentor, or should you be looking for someone else? It depends, Tiffany, on what your goals are, right? So if you've got a mentor who's also an accountability buddy and this person has answers that you need, then absolutely feel free to, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. But the point of a mentor is to find someone who knows things that you don't know so that they can help you advance. What are some ways to approach someone about becoming your mentor? Okay, so number 1, I would say, if you know them in real life, I would just talk to them. I would talk to them. I would maybe invite them out for lunch or take them to coffee or something like that and be like, oh, hey, would you like to go to coffee with me? I'd love to, talk to you about this if you're willing to. And, take them out for lunch, take them out for coffee, talk, see how it goes, ask them some questions, be respectful of their time. If it feels like they are not into it or like they don't, they're being reserved, they don't want to like tell you things, then just take a hint, right? Like obviously they're just not that into you or they're just not that into, the time commitment that being a mentor takes. Now, if there's someone that like virtually, right, or like remotely, you absolutely, I think that if you're following them on social media, you should be following them. You should be an engaged member of their community. And if there's someone who, like, I guess like in my instance, right, if you want me to be your mentor, it's very easy. You sign up for Empire Building, bang, boom, I'm your mentor, right? But I don't do a lot of mentoring or anything like that for people who are not in empire building, because I'm prioritizing the people who have invested in me. So that's just, the way it is. You know what I mean? Like we all only have so many hours in the day. I can't spend all of my time just talking to people and helping them build businesses individually. Like this is what I create my content for. So you guys can enjoy my free content, like the virtual mentor situation. But if you wanted like a remote mentor, this is how you get into someone's sphere of influence, buy into one of their programs, is what I would say. Someone said, I am likely to pursue many different topics within my business? Does my mentor need to have many of the same interests, or they just need to be able to answer my questions? I think they just need to be able to answer your questions, right? So Hannah, so I think that they just need to be someone who, again, it goes back to what your goals are. If you're like, oh, I want to start a podcast and I want to start a website and I want to consult, right? You're going to want to find someone who has done many of those things. Maybe not all of them, but even if they did just one of those things, they could be a mentor for you. You know what I mean? Like if they've had success in one area or experience in one area, they could definitely help. But they don't have to be like your best friend. They don't have to be your twin. You don't have to have everything in common with them. This is a relationship where you are asking questions and they are giving information. They are a walking, talking resource for you. Okay, let's see. I'm scrolling down. Okay, someone said, Kiona says, if a mentor says one thing but does another. Am I back? Whoa, what a pain in the butt. Okay, so I can see that I'm back. I'm just going to talk some more. I just texted you guys in there just so you guys know. Okay, so going back to Kiona's question, if a mentor says one thing but does another, remember that they're human, right? And people often do this. They say one thing and they do another. Now, again, this could go back to the fact that they can tell you to do something because they're looking at your situation and thinking, do this. But for their own situation, they think, I have to do this, right? So this is a situation where businesses are different. And even if you have a business mentor who does something very similar to you, you really don't fully know the extent to like what their thought process is. Now, I would say that if you have a mentor and this is happening, ask them, say, you say to do this, but you are doing this. Why? That is a completely legitimate question. Like you should be asking that. If you're avoiding asking that question to your mentor, then you are failing to make the most of that relationship because you need to find out why they would suggest something that they're not doing themselves. Does that make sense? So that is what I have to say about that. I think that's the best answer I can say for you. Number one, people are just human, right? Sometimes we say one thing and do another, right? Like there are many things, I will be honest with you guys, because I've been around for a long time, there are many things that I recommend to my empire builders that I actually don't do because I'm in a situation of I've made my bed and now I have to lie in it. Now, obviously I'm doing well enough with my business, but like a really good example of this is the fact that my business is called Charmed Media Enterprises. My website is called Strange and Charmed, and yet I'm known as MissTrenchcoat all across the internet. Why? Because I've been MissTrenchcoat since the internet first became like my home online, right? So I've been MissTrenchcoat for a long time. And there was a period of time where handles like at MissTrenchcoat was what you used. That was what you used. Now there's this push for using your real name. And you know, hindsight is 20/20, but I'm stuck with MissTrenchcoat unless I want to overcome that by doing a complete rebrand, which I don't see the value in because I'm making it work. I would tell you not to use a handle for your business. I would tell you to use your business name or your own name, but like not like some random like fun made up word, right? But just because there's a reason that I'm not doing it, and it's because made my bed, I have to lie in it. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not. I don't think it's the right time for me to rebrand or something like that. So I hope that makes sense. Yes, I do not teach to be everywhere. I think that that's a waste of time unless you are like J. Crew or Martha Stewart Living, where you have like a team of 1 million people being able to watch all of your social media feeds. We talked about how to approach someone, talked about the accountability buddy. Do you always need to pay for a mentor because starting out, not everyone can afford a lot? So Tiffany, if you know someone in real life, like my uncle, I did not pay him to be my mentor. If you are talking about someone randomly online who is an online business person, unless there is a reason that they have to be invested in you, being a mentor to someone is a significant time. What would you call that? It's a time investment, okay? Where you are not, you as the mentee, you're not able to really fully reciprocate in that relationship. Do you see what I'm saying? So like for me, like I said, I'm not able to actually take on free mentors, free mentees, right? Because it would waste all of my time talking to people who are not investing in me when I have people who are investing in me. And this isn't to be rude. This isn't to be like mean or be like, oh no, I'm only going to associate with people who invest in me. I find ways to give back to people who don't have the money to work with me, but I have to first and foremost respect my customers and my clients who have paid for my attention. So that's just like fact of life. Like unless you know someone in real life or you're connected to someone, you've got like a friend or something that you've made online, like I said, I couldn't go to Gary Vaynerchuk and be like, oh, hey, Gary, you want to be like my mentor? Like he'd be like, I have 5,000 million things to do. Like, unless you're paying me, no. So, you know what I'm saying? Like this is a priorities thing. We all have too much to do, especially if we're entrepreneurs. So yes, if you are not able to afford one, do the virtual mentor route. Like look and, look up information, find information, go search, use Google as your mentor for now. But the truth and the fact of the matter is that, information, you can get so much information online for free. There's a lot of it out there. It's not always the best information. So having someone that literally knows the difference and has experience dealing with different strategies and things like that, like that is something people pay for. So never think, never fall into the trap, especially if you're someone who wants to be an entrepreneur, of thinking I'm not going to pay for something because I could get it for free, because that mentality is going to follow you along in your business, and it's going to hold you back from making money yourself. Because if your view of the world is I'm not going to pay someone for something valuable, why would you expect anyone to pay you for whatever you're doing? Do you see what I'm saying? Like you have to understand that currency is a value exchange. Like money is a value exchange. You sometimes have to pay for someone's time. Especially if what they're giving you is really important information to you. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't go to college. I mean, in some countries you go to college for free. I'm in the US. I paid a lot of money for my education. You know what I mean? Obviously there's scholarships and things like that, but this is a basic like proposition of society, is money is a value exchange. And as a business owner or an aspiring business owner, you really need to respect that as soon as possible, or it's just going to hold your own earning potential back. Hope that answers this question. We went on like a nice tangent on that one. Marlon Johnny says, can you be my mentor? Sure. If you want to join Empire Building, I've got a link down in the description box where you can sign up for Empire Building, and the course website launches on Wednesday, and unlimited Q&A with me. You can ask me anything. I will provide extra resources. That is how I mentor people. Okay. Someone said, can you repeat who are your mentors? You can go back in the video. Totally agree with you. Great advice. So true. All goes around. Yeah, it absolutely all does go around. So yeah, Marlon, let me know. And if any of you here today on this call with me are interested in Empire Building, like seriously interested, and you want to talk to me about your business idea and make sure that it's the right investment for you, because I don't want anybody in Empire Building where it's not the right investment. Anybody out there who has a business already started, you know that wrong customers are the worst customers. Like you don't want people to buy your products if they're the wrong people. Like it's not worth all the tea in China. Like, it's not worth the money. It's not worth the hassle to have people in a program who are not the right fit for the program, because you're going to be bending over backwards to try to make people happy who are not the right fit. So if you think you might be a fit or you're interested, shoot me an email. My email address is alexis@strangecharmed.com. If you go to my website and you go to my contact, you'll see a link there for it. And we will get a one-on-one. I will do a one-on-one with you, like a Skype live one-on-one, and we will chat for like 20 minutes, and I will tell you whether or not what I can actually do for your business. I will tell you what I think I can do for you, and you can decide if empire building is right for you. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Okay, cool. Old responses. Okay, yep, okay. Well, we've now been on this call for an hour. So are there any other questions you guys have that I can answer? I'll stay on for like another few minutes, but I think we covered a lot. I think this was very informative. I'm so sorry about the cutouts. I may end up pulling this down and actually editing those out, but I don't think they were very long, right? I think we're good. I think people will figure out that they just need to fast forward. Okay, final questions. I'll give you guys another minute because I know that there is a delay. Okay, is everyone good then? Give me like a thumbs up and all good if you guys are good, just so I know that this isn't like the chat lagging. Okay, awesome. So thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much for spending time with me. I hope this has been valuable for you guys. My upgraded site is down. I don't know what that means. But my site was down earlier today because my hosting company had to take down cloud sites. So my site was down this morning, but it was back up before I got on here. Okay, you guys are all good. Okay, good. Just remember, you guys, in the description, we've got the link to sign up for Empire Building. I also have the workbook and the Q&A stuff and additional offers and stuff. If you click on that top link and sign up for Entrepreneurship is the New Black, the video is live on YouTube, but the workbook isn't. So if you want to get access to that stuff and get into that like private page, then definitely check it out. Yeah, and let me know if you guys have any questions, and I'm here for you. The sale on Empire Building ends on the 7th of March. So 4 days left, and then the upgrade site launches on the 8th, okay? So you just tried to click to sign up and it says it's down. Hey, go back down. Let's see. It's very possible. Yeah, I got a message. Yeah. It's temporarily unavailable. Okay, I'm sorry, you guys. This is just one of the realities of being an online business owner. Sometimes your site goes down. It's not on my end though, it's on my hosting. They had a glitch in their cloud servers, which I'm on a pro cloud server, which is like a very powerful server. And of course they had a glitch and stuff went down this morning. So they're still working on it, but shoot me an email if you're interested, and I'll make sure everybody gets in, right? So I don't know how long this glitch is gonna go for. I'm assuming it's gonna be gone in a matter of hours. I'm honestly not stressing about it because it's tech, and of course I run this business. So if something were to happen and the site were to be down for a while, I can, guess what, extend the sale. So it's not the end of the world for me. So yeah, but thank you guys for letting me know. It was up when I got on here, but what are you gonna do? Tech glitches. Remember that other day there was like, did you guys know about the Amazon or something got hacked and then like half the internet went down? And I'm like, how does Amazon affect half the internet? I don't know. So it's the world we live in, right? Okay, well, thank you guys so much for spending this time with me, and I will talk to you guys later. Feel free to reach out to me and make sure to give this video a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed to my channel yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button for more awesome videos by me. And until next time, bye-bye.